Topic: What is technology? Introduction. What is technology? Definition. Who does technology in the world of work? How we will be working, the development of a technology task. IDMEC, the design process. Investigate, find, use and acknowledge information. Design, design brief, specifications, constraints, initial idea sketches. Choosing the best design, selecting materials. Make, draw plans, develop the manufacturing sequence, make the item/model. Evaluate. Learners evaluate both their design stages and their final product. Communicate. Learners present their solutions. Learners compile all notes and drawings into a project report in their workbooks. Design considerations. Fitness for purpose. What is technology? Technology. Uses knowledge, skills, values, and resources to meet people's needs and wants by developing practical solutions to problems, while considering all social and environmental factors. Almost everything we use, from a pen to a cell phone, is a product of technology. Who does technology in the world of work? The following people all use technology as part of their work. Can you think of more examples? The design process. In technology, we follow the design process whenever we want to find a solution to a problem. The design process consists of 5 distinct stages or steps. Investigate. Before you can start to investigate, you must first identify the need or want or problem. Once you have done this, you can investigate the problem in more detail. When you investigate a problem, you gather information. You look at books, the internet, and interview people who have the problem. You should also speak to experts who have knowledge regarding the subject. It is important to acknowledge where your information comes from. Keep a record of all the information you have gathered. Design. Once you understand your problem, you can write a short statement that describes the need, want, or problem. This is called a design brief. After you have written the design brief, you will write down a list of specifications and constraints. The specifications provide more detail about the product you are planning to design and make. A constraint is a factor that will limit a choice of a solution. It includes the following: available resources and equipment, financial constraints, and available time. During this stage, you will also make initial sketches of possible ideas that will meet the criteria of the design brief, specifications, and constraints. You will also choose suitable materials to use for making your product. At the end of this stage, you will choose the best idea to develop further. Make. Once you have decided on the final design, you will make a detailed final drawing of the product. This drawing must be neat and must contain all the information needed to make the product. During this stage, you will also plan your manufacturing sequence. These will be the steps you will follow to complete the making of the product. You can use a flowchart to show your steps. Finally, you can start making the product or model. Evaluating. To evaluate means to consider or test something. During the design process, you should continually evaluate your product to ensure that it meets your design brief and specifications. When your product has been made, it must be evaluated on how well it solves the problem. Communicate. Communication is done throughout the process. At the end, you will present all your notes, planning, drawings, and the final product to an audience. Your audience will be your classmates and teacher. Design considerations. When we design and make a product, we need to make sure that the product fits its purpose. For example, a cell phone cannot have sharp edges. It will hurt your hands when you hold it. Before you start solving a problem, you need to ask certain questions about the product to see that it is suitable for its purpose. Look at the following questions. 1. Who is it for? 2. What is it for? 3. Will it do the job? 4. Is it cost-effective? 5. Is it safe? 6. Is it easy to use, ergonomics? 7. Does it look good, aesthetics? 8. Will it affect society? 9. Will it affect the environment? Definitions. Ergonomics. Features of a product or system that makes it user-friendly. Aesthetics. Characteristics of a product or system that makes it look beautiful and attractive. Activity. Investigate and design. Read the scenario below. Mrs. April needs a wheelbarrow to take her vegetables to the street market. She doesn't like the wheelbarrows in the shops. She asks you to make her a wheelbarrow. Mrs. April could buy a wheelbarrow like the one on the right. But she says this wheelbarrow will not work well for her vegetables. Mrs. April wants to put vegetables next to each other rather than on top of each other. Mrs. April can only spend $100 on the project and needs it in 1 week's time. Wheelbarrows are used for different purposes, and they can be of different sizes and shapes. Mrs. April will have to give you more information for you to solve her problem. We are going to use the design process to solve Mrs. April's problem. Step 1. Investigate. 1. Write down some questions that you can ask Mrs. April. 2. Try to think what answers Mrs. April would give to your questions. During this step, you will also do research and look at other types of wheelbarrows available. You can visit gardening and hardware stores. You can also look on the internet for ideas and solutions. Look at the examples found on the internet. Step 2. Design. 3. Now that you have more information, you can write a design brief. Complete the design brief below. Design brief. This is a short statement that describes some or all of the following. The product that is needed, what? Who the product is for. Its purpose, what for. Where it will be used. Design and make a. What is needed for. For who. That she can use to. What for, to the. Where. 4. List 3 specifications. You can find the specifications in the scenario and from the answers Mrs. April gave you. Questions you asked Mrs. April. The first one is done for you. Vegetables must be next to each other. 5. List 2 constraints: cost, time, materials available. Read the scenario to identify the constraints. Mrs. April has an old wheelbarrow without a top. See the picture on the right. You can make a new top and attach it to the old wheelbarrow. 6. Make a sketch to show what you think the new top should look like. 7. Which materials could be used to make the wheelbarrow's top? Describe the options and say which one you prefer. Also explain why you prefer this material. After you have completed your idea sketches and chosen your materials, you will continue with the making, evaluating, and communicating stages of the design process. We will cover these stages during the practical assessment tasks during the year.